Welcome to Somewhere Through Time. This channel is dedicated to people who experience past life memories, those who are haunted by the past and simply cannot forget. Here, you can share your stories without judgment while remaining anonymous. We'll grab your cup of tea or coffee and let's begin. Today's story is about a young boy named Titu. He had strong memories of his past life, even of how he was murdered. His parents at first thought he was just being imaginative. However, they soon discovered that he was telling the truth. In December of 1983, a boy named Titu Singh was born in a village near Agra. At the age of 4, he began to insist that his name was Suresh Verma, and that his wife Uma and his 2 children lived in Agra and were owners of a radio shop. He begged his present parents to take him back home and continued to reject them as his real parents. The entire family was tired with this intense behavior of the boy, who insisted on being called Suresh and continually asked to go to Agra. He also talked about having been murdered by 2 men. He could clearly remember what happened to him. One day, as he arrived home in his car and had sounded his horn so that his wife would open the gate, 2 men came running towards him and had shot him in the head. He knew the names of the 2 men. The one that had fired the shot was a businessman named Sadiq Johadin. During a stay in Agra, Titu's older brother went to find out whether there really was a radio shop with the name his younger brother had mentioned. He went in and asked to see Suresh Verma. He was told that Suresh had been the owner of the shop, but had died several years ago. When he asked for more information about their owner's cause of death, he was advised to go and visit the deceased man's widow, Uma Verma. Uma Verma told him that her husband had been shot in front of their house after returning home in his car. No one knew who had shot him, and therefore the murder had been unsolved. Titu's brother then informed Uma that his little brother claims to be her deceased husband. He told her everything that Titu had talked about at home. Suresh's widow now insisted on going to see the boy herself. She also told the rest of her family about this incident, so Suresh's parents and his 3 brothers all decided to join her. When Titu saw his parents and his wife, he was so happy he ran up to them and hugged them all. Then he drummed on a stool with his hands to vent his joy, just like Suresh used to do when he was a child. A decision was made with his parents' permission to take Titu to Agra to confirm his past life memories. Once they had arrived there, his brothers wanted him to show them the way to the radio shop. They tried to mislead him on purpose, but the 4-year-old was not fooled. Even when they told the driver to drive faster as they were approaching the shop, the boy suddenly shouted, "Stop! This is where my shop is!" After the boy had recognized several things from the past, his family was completely convinced that Titu really was their previously murdered son, Suresh, reborn. When Professor Chatta from the University of Delhi heard of this incident, he immediately showed great interest in the case. He visited Suresh's widow, Uma, and asked her what it was that had finally convinced her that this boy really was her deceased husband reborn. She said that when he described an incident that only she and her husband knew anything about, Titu was able to remember it clearly. It had been about Titu having given his wife a big bag of sweets when they were out on a picnic. Professor Chatta must have told his colleague Professor Stevenson about this case, for Stevenson sent his colleague Antonia Mills to Agra to continue the research with Professor Chatta. They wanted to clear their doubts regarding the authenticity of this case. All of their research confirmed that they were dealing with an authentic case of reincarnation. Naturally, they also inspected Titu's head to see if any scars or birthmarks relating to the shot in the head that had killed him in his previous life. To their amazement, they found a dent on the right side of his head, which was precisely the mark a bullet entering the skull would leave. On the other side of his head, where the bullet had left the skull in his previous life, they found a star-shaped scar. The wound would naturally have been bigger than the one on the other side of Suresh's head, since a bullet leaving the skull would have made a larger hole than the one entering it. Titu later remembered the name of his murderer, and when the Agra police questioned the man, he confessed to the murder. Well, that's it for today's episode. Thanks for watching. Until we meet again, so long.